Well, it's nearly 12 months ago that Professor Mick Dodson and Jonty Bush were named as Australian of the Year and Young Australian of the Year, respectively. And with only 1 week to go before they pass the baton on to their successors, we thought it'd be great to catch up and find out what kind of a year they've had. Mick and Jonty, good morning. Isn't this fantastic? What a great space to be.
It's great.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Now, I understand you've become good friends, the two of you, Jonty.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the last year has been an opportunity to really forge that and to meet someone that I don't know if our lives would ever have crossed ordinarily. So it's that's probably been the icing on the cake, is meeting Mick and a number of amazing people.
Does Jonty tease you a lot, Mick, when you're on the road together?
Oh, yes.
Give you a hard time?
Johnny's pretty awesome.
What it's like, I mean, you'd actually seen quite a bit of Australia already, Mick, so it was no surprise for you to tour the country.
Well, it's my first time up here, which is, I mean, this is a beautiful country, and I like to thank Auntie Lynn and Auntie Carol for their welcome to country. It's beautiful. Their country is fabulous, like the rest of our country. You know, it's beautiful.
The most intense part of your 12 months, I think, was the time you spent in South Australia together. Jonty, give me a sense of what happened during that time in South Australia.
Well, I guess part of the opportunity of being Australian or Young Australian of the Year is what's called a tour of honour, and we get to go to other states, have a tour around and talk about what's relevant to us. So for South Australia, we were very fortunate. I think it was the first time perhaps it had ever been organised so that the four of us could actually be together. Kind of felt like a bit of a road trip for a band, really. We felt like VIP for the week. You get chauffeured around and taken places. And,
get a rider and everything else.
That's it, only green M&Ms.
Yeah, that's right. How was that for you, Mick, travelling around?
Well, one of the things I've most enjoyed and the thing I've most enjoyed throughout the 12 months is going to schools. You know, the kids were just fabulous. I mean, particularly primary school kids, they have no fear about asking you questions, and difficult ones too.
Yeah, like what sort of questions do you get asked by primary school kids?
Oh, well, you know, what's the Widgety Grove stage like?
What do you say? I have no idea, I suppose.
No, I've had them.
Have you?
Beautiful, yeah. I think there's a slight nutmeg there, I think.
A lot of people report how their kids are coming home from school and they're teaching their parents about Indigenous culture because they're learning it in school. This was a big part of your mission, if you like, as Australian of the Year, was to talk to kids, and Indigenous kids, particularly in schools. How does that, tell me your thoughts on that, on the way kids are taught Indigenous culture.
I was absolutely delighted to see that these things are happening in schools around the country, and I've been to schools in every state and territory over the last 12 months, and there's some wonderful things happening about getting kids to understand and learn about Aboriginal history and culture, and kids are really exploring stuff in an inclusive way that really impresses me, that gives me a lot of confidence about the future.
Do you think it helps them see Australia differently? Like, really see Australia, rather than sort of see it like from a distance and comparing it to somewhere else, but to see it for itself and to see what a beautiful place it is, Mick?
Well, I think that's true. You know, I think kids are understanding the landscape not just as an abstract, really, but them being part of it, you know, through Aboriginal eyes, in a sense, and it's wonderful to behold.
And Jonty, you're one of the reasons why you were nominated as Young Australian of the Year was your work with victims of homicide in past years and the One Punch Can Kill campaign. Your role was in some part, was to meet a lot of young people around Australia. Tell me about some of your visits and the conversations you've had with young people around Australia.
Yeah, it's been a great year. You get to speak with people, I guess, from every end of the spectrum, from politicians that are in incredible positions of influence and power to do something about your particular campaign, which for me is crime prevent or anti-violence, through to, as you say, very small community groups or schools, and really affect the next generation that's coming through and their attitudes around violence. And I think that was something I was really focused on, was just not jamming it down people's throats around that message, but about just, I guess, soliciting a natural curiosity to want to know about what we can do to eradicate violence and to create a future where that doesn't really play a role anymore. So that's been really interesting, watching particularly young people and their interest in social issues, which is really a lot more developed than I would have thought for people of that age. So it was an eye-opener for me.
And how about personal conversations too? Because a lot's happened to you in your life, and did that mean that young people felt that they could come and talk to you about some of the things that they were going through?
Yeah, look, I think so. I think a lot of people out there are looking for someone to talk to. I was really amazed by the number of young people, particularly at schools, that would kind of seek you out and share really personal, difficult, confronting stories, and we're just looking to connect and to share that with someone. And it just, for me, it was another reminder of how blessed I am in my life. Even though I've had things happen, I am very blessed, and it's that reminder of, some people are going through some incredible stuff at very young ages, but also a reminder of, how much work there is to do.
One of the lovely things about this year and this event particularly is that you get to meet people like yourselves and the Senior Australian of the Year and the local hero as well. How has it been for you, Mick, to, I don't know, be sort of lumped in together with a group of people you probably normally wouldn't ever get to meet or spend time with, people from very different backgrounds to you?
Well, it's been a great opportunity to meet people that I might not otherwise have met, and to learn a lot from them, and particularly the other three wonderful Australians that we sort of share this great honour with. They're beautiful people who are dedicated to our nation, our country, and they're really good fun to be with, and they're inspirational.
You're all people of real achievement. Nonetheless, do you take on the role of Australian of the Year and Young Australian of the Year with some trepidation? Is it a little scary to take that role on?
Well, I think we're still doing what we do, It's not, we don't, I'll speak for myself, Johnny can speak for himself, but I think Pat and Graham and Johnny and I, we still do what we've been doing for our lives, our adult lives particularly, but it's nothing new that we're doing, it's what we do.
How about you, Jonty? Is it a little, I don't know, awe-inspiring being singled out in this way?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think where it really hit home was, just being surrounded with everyone on Australia Day Eve, and just looking around at just the talent that we've got in Australia. For me, I was obviously looking more focused on the young Australians and just incredible talent. So I have this year felt the pressure of having to showcase that, and there's incredible people out there of a young age doing amazing things, and we hear so much about what young people are doing wrong and in an antisocial way, but there's incredible things going on, so I felt that pressure as well. So having said that, it was still a great year, and as Mick says, it's a balancing act between maintaining what you've been nominated for, but also trying to seize an opportunity that most people in our positions never have the chance to do. So yeah, balancing acts.
And I think you've said in the past you weren't all that familiar with Indigenous culture and issues, but how has that changed over the last year, meeting someone like Mick?
Yeah, look, meeting Mick and also just the opportunities to go around and invites into communities and to hear people's stories, and it's definitely given me a thirst to know more, which perhaps I didn't have so much before. It was something that I was aware of, but really didn't have that thirst. So that's probably what's changed in me, is just that clicking of interest.
How about you, Mick? You've seen and done a lot of stuff. Are you
past
changing, or have you learned a lot?
Everybody can learn every day. I've learned something beautiful today about this country.
That's fantastic. And that period of a year where you travel around Australia and you see so much, Jonty, you've seen parts of the Northern Territory and Western Australia. Where else have you been in that year?
Everywhere. Northern Territory, which I'd never been before. That was great. I'd never been to Perth before. That was incredible. Got flown out to a little remote station in the Territory, which was a great experience on many levels. So just incredible country. And
will you remain friends now that your tour of duty has come to an end?
Oh, I think this is an eternal friendship. Johnny's such a great Australian. I'm honoured to know her and have got to know her better this year. I've seen her from afar, in a sense, but with young Australians like her, the country's in good hands.
And Mick, you're one of the fathers and mothers, if you like, of reconciliation. And you heard Auntie Carol speaking there about travelling a few precious yards up the rungs up the ladder of reconciliation. Just your final thoughts on that.
Oh, we've moved an inch or two this year.
That's good to know. It's been great to speak with you. Thank you so much.
It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure, thank you.
Mick Dodson and Jonty Bush, Australian of the Year and Young Australian of the Year. And that brings us to the conclusion of this special and magical Dawn event, and many thanks to our guests here today who have helped make this happen, including Mick Dodson, Jonty Bush, Emma Donovan, Auntie Carol and Auntie Lynn. And to close the program, we have Jack Thompson with a reflection on this land and on its history and on its future.